Welcome, y'all. What's good? What's good? Got a couple people in the comments already. What's up, NBA and full court ball? I see you guys. We're going to be going through two NBA games. Hope everybody's ready and feeling good about these two games that we have in the NBA today. I got a couple things I'm already looking at as well. So we're going to take a look at the two games that we have. I'm going to take a look at the bets that I put out already. Got a little late to the video earlier today, so we're going to take a look at that. We can definitely look at DJ Murray, full court ball. What's up, G-Bag? I think the thing about DJ Murray today is he playing? If he's not playing, there's a lot that I kind of have to look at because there's a lot of stats that are going to be available for some other Hawks players. So I was able to put together a couple little slides real quick to show you what I mean. I'm going to run through the bets that I had and keep those up, and we'll start adding stuff. But I'll show you that I'm going to be getting the card together as well for y'all. Let me put DJ Murray on the up next screen real quick, and we can see about his PRA. Under does feel like the play here. I mean, the thing is he's been going crazy, obviously with shots and everything like that for Murray. But if he's getting a little bit hobbled, then I think that's a really good look by Full Court Ball talking about the under for Murray. And that's the first thing I'm looking at here for Murray is going to be. Hold on, let me pull that up for you. The first thing I'm going to be looking at for Murray is, or if for Atlanta in general, is if they don't play, then I do like the fact that this kind of feels like a blowout more than anything. You know what I mean? Like this is a little bit scary to take well, hold on, get the right one up here. My bad. This is a little bit scary to take some overs in this one. This is where you definitely look at unders for sure. I think that's probably a good look. Let some people get in here real quick while we talk about this. What's good, y'all? I see you, free sauce, everybody. Troy is a boss. What's good, bro? Larry Stone Cold here. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at stuff. Good afternoon indeed, because if you're following baseball, maybe you need a little bit of help making some money back with hoops and the 2-game slate that we have here. If you are doing well with baseball today, congrats, mazel tov, and all that. I'll be looking at baseball. I promise. And this would have been a good day to do it, but I still have hoops to look at, and I'm also going to be taking an early look at tomorrow so I can get that video out tonight with projections for a 12-game slate on Friday as the schedule makers continue to give us these weird things. But take a look at real quick the couple things to keep in mind while you're looking at Boston and Atlanta. Blowout danger is high, similar to like forest fires in Cali in the fall here. We're talking about a revenge narrative that is probably pretty sweet. The Celtics have been waiting for a couple days to get some revenge here. And the Hawks played last night at Portland in a win that they beat a bad Portland team with nobody playing. And Dejounte was questionable for that game, right? Now that he's coming back and playing after 35 minutes, what do we think of how he's going to play against this Celtics squad? We know he's going to do everything. The points and assists together for Murray wouldn't be terrible if you consider the fact that he put together 16 assists last game just to go along with the 19 points. So that might be a play. I am going to look at Bogdanovich as well. We'll talk about Bogdan because he is going to be in a situation where maybe he's getting assists tonight, and that's one thing that I'm looking at. So PRA would be a consideration. The 17.5 points for Bogdan is like right around where he's at. So we'll take a look at that as well. Before we get into that game too, though, for this this Milwaukee at New Orleans game, couple key things to look at too. Both these teams are playing really well down low. They are not playing very well when it comes to the Bucks, I should say, are not playing well when it comes to 3-point defense. New Orleans specifically against the above the break three has been terrible. So for Dame, I think somebody was talking about Dame already. For Free Sauce, he was talking about Dame over 6.5 assists. We can look at that for sure. I want to also look at with him his points in general because of the fact that this New Orleans team has been on the season really good above the break. As of late, not really good above the break. So if he's going to be taking a lot of shots from up there, there might be something to that. But let's put Dame. I'll put points and assists that we can look at so that we know what we're doing with Dame in a minute. I'll put that on the up next as well. Definitely want to remind everybody who might be coming in, jump in the comments. Let me know what you want to take a look at as well. There is something that I want to look at here with this the Boston Atlanta game, and I'll talk about the Milwaukee New Orleans one in a second. Just want everybody to get a couple things down for how I'm already looking at this game. What is on my mind about how to play some of these props for this Milwaukee New Orleans game? I'm not necessarily backing dudes who have to get down low as much, but I mean it's Giannis and Zion, so we'll take a look at them as well for sure. For this game so far, the one bet that I do have for Giannis already that I'll show you is over to basically be the top scorer. So over top scorer, whatever. The points prop for him is 5 points higher than Zion, and we get minus 110 on FanDuel. So you still get really close to even money for him to lead this game in scoring. This is something that happens like almost 70% of the time for Giannis when he plays, around that number for him, as he is the leading scorer in the games that he plays in. So with Zion as the only dude on the other team to really threaten that, and then on his team with Dame, like I don't like the matchup for Dame as much. If you look at the way that the Pellies limit the ball handler in the pick and roll, Dame's doing that above the break stuff. Like they've been giving up a lot of shots from up there, so we'll see about Dame's shots. But he's going to need to hit a lot of threes compared to Giannis, who, interestingly, like the Pellies are really good in the last 10 anyway. They've been really good in the paint, but not right next to the rim. So if you go all the way to the bucket and you are going to the rim, which is all Giannis does. I mean, I can't remember Giannis putting up a floater at any point in the time that I've watched him play. So if you that's not where he's going to need to score from. That's where the Pellies are best from, is that like it basically like 7 to 15 range, like around the foul line, the extended paint, that area. So still not right next to the basket, because to be fair, like Joval is not the best rim protector that you're going to find in the NBA. So by the time you get past the paint, like if you get past the top of the paint, then you're going to be in a really good position to score for this Bucks squad. So I'm going to take him as the top scorer, and I did fade Zion in that one as well. And I'll just get to these couple quick ones and then look at that Boston game. But for Zion, like I said, that interior defense for Milwaukee has been nice. It has been limiting everything in terms of field goal percentage, field goal attempts, everything that right inside of 5 feet and at the rim. That's where they've been best. And Brook and Brolo and Giannis have been playing incredible down low defense. Even give Bobby Portis some credit, because he's played a good amount of minutes lately. That's going to be continue to be a place that I continue to try to fade people who are playing against this Bucks squad. If driving to the rim, that's going to be what we know Zion's doing, right? So I'm going to take an under for him as well on the rebounds and assists. He is not good against this type of defense. The rebound profile, they limit his rebounds the best. Basically, their best in the league is Milwaukee at limiting rebounds to Zion's rebound profile. So we're going to run with that. Last one I have here is JB, because I do really think that no matter what happens with Murray, we can kind of safely bet on Jaylen Brown to be the dude who's getting buckets today for this Boston Celtics squad, mostly because he's the dude in transition for Boston. He pushes the tempo. He pushes things into the transition so that they don't get that half-court defense set for Atlanta. They're just terrible getting back on D. Like, even if they do set that defense up, the other thing about JB is he's the dude going to the bucket more than anyone for this squad as well, in terms of driving to the hoop, shooting the bulk of his shots either from the short mid-range or right next to the basket. So there's not going to be anybody really that's going to be a good matchup for him in this Atlanta game. And I do think, with the way that Atlanta plays defense, they're a little bit better against the three, but they allowed the third most field goals made at the rim. So look, Tatum's points is about 4. His prop is about 4 points higher than Jaylen Brown. So to get 3.5 to 1 on the 4 points, I like that. A lot better than the other top scorer bet that I made with Giannis, where he's got 5 points, but Zion is like a plus 270 to be the leading scorer in this game at the number 2 dude, right, with the second best odds. So that's not quite as good of it. That leads me to take value with Giannis, as opposed to this one, which leads me to take value with JB. I did play an over in that game. I really do want Dejounte Murray to play in it. I think I'm going to hit the over team total for Boston regardless. They let me down last game. We put up over 118.5 for them. They put up 118 after having 66 at the half, right? So that was a letdown that kind of scared me and just made me take the whole over instead of just their team total. But that I think is a pretty good bet at I think it's 121.5 for their team total for Boston specifically to go over. I mean, for Atlanta, this offense is going to be stagnant if it doesn't have Dejounte Murray. He's the only guard. He's the only dude who can set things up. That's why we might take a look at some stuff that would be valuable for his teammates if he is out, because the fact that he's still listed as questionable, and to be honest, the fact that he played with that sore back last night, played 35 minutes against Portland, now now they're coming back. I mean, they didn't go anywhere. They've been home the whole time. But either way, if you were questionable last night and then played 35 minutes, you're probably feeling it a little bit more than normal today, right? So reminder there at the bottom too, to just jump in if you do have some stuff, jump in the comments and let me know what you got. Those are the 4 bets I already played. And I want to look at what you guys want to look at. So I did already put a couple things on the card. You can see when you jump in the comments and I see them. I'm going to get Dejounte Murray, PRA, and then Dame points, assists. We're going to look at that as well. Let's see if we can get some stuff in the comments. Yeah, so we got some Bogdan stuff. Let me kick it off with with that game for Boston. So we'll take some more of those real quick. Let's do Bogey, PRA in general, because we want to look at what it's like for him. It's just tough because this is a scenario where we don't have Dejounte Murray and we don't have Trae Young. and we don't have Jalen Johnson. So there's a lot of dudes, and we don't have Sadiq Bey, right? There's a lot of dudes for Atlanta that would be playing. So it's hard to find the exact scenario, right, where this is the exact context that we've had in the past. But let's see, CJ McCollum 3.5 threes from G-Bag. Like I was looking at CJ earlier because of the way that the Pellies have just been given, or the Bucks are awful above the break, right? They just begin all that. So we can look at CJ as well. Let me put him in here next to Dame, since they're in that same game together. We'll look at CJM 3P. Yeah, his points props stupid high for CJ McCollum, except for the fact that obviously we know that we don't have Dame Lillard in here, right? So that, or Dame Lillard, we don't have Brandon Ingram playing in that game. So that is the reason, right? And then Trey Murphy, I was also looking at that, Diego, in terms of his 3-point prop. I think that's a good look as well. So we'll look at that. Let me get to these Boston ones. If y'all do have another Boston Atlanta prop that you want to look at, let me know. But I'm going to get into that for us right now. So let me share my screen and get up to what I'm getting to. That's not what I want to do. I want to present the screen. Not that one. All right, pull this up and change the music. Always got to stay changing the music. All right. So if we're looking at my screen real quick, which I'm going to do by adding this to the stage, get this out of here, get this out of here. And let's look at this stuff right quick. All right. Try to get a little bit more full screen. Cool. All right, cool. So what we're looking at right now is, first one I want to look at is Dejounte Murray. You know I'm going to start with the prop stock cash. It is a great site. You do need to pay for it to get a little bit everything you would want on it, right? To be honest, like there's no point in not paying for it and having it. It's not going to get you much, but this is where I've been starting with you guys. So I'm gonna keep looking at it. Looking at Dejounte, like if he is in, honestly, like the only thing that scares me about taking over for points and assists is the idea that he's hurt, right? And if we can't get a really accurate understanding of how hurt he is, then it's kind of tough to feel like you can back him, because he's gonna have to do superhuman stuff against this squad. But some of the things I'm looking at for Murray is like the points, they're pretty high for him, right? And he only had 19 against Boston. If you look at the way he shot against Boston, he made 8 of his shots, right? And he took 22 of them. So he had a bad night shooting. Let me just pull him up real quick. We are going to talk about Vit Krejci, by the way. If you don't know, now you're about to learn about Vit Krejci. We'll look at him in one sec. Let's look at Dejounte, excuse me. Dejounte let's just look at the last 5 games. And we can look up the Boston just line real quick. So the 41 minutes, like this is what scares me. 36 last night, 41 in the night, a couple nights prior. Right now we're talking about the 3rd game in 4 nights for a dude who has a lower back. Like I'm sure plenty of people in here are old enough that we already all have back problems, and y'all know what that's like, and it's not fun. So the idea of playing basketball on a hard surface after putting up all those shots last night, 20 of them last night, this was a terrible percentage, especially because he missed 7 of them from 3. But I'm happy to like come back to a dude after he's had a bad game. Problem is he just had a good game. He just came back from that clunker against Boston with a really nice game, shooting 65% from the field and making half his threes, right? Didn't even need to go to the line, was shooting so well with those 30 points. So did he use up that good game that we could really use from him on the bounce back after Boston? It's not a good matchup, right? After you already come back from that. If you want to look at how Boston does against his type of player profile here, we're going to go to Courtside Pal, which shout out Courtside Pal again. I'll always talk about them the first time we come to it. This is much better most of the time for finding player stuff versus defenses, because it's player profile. It's not player position. For instance, Dejounte Murray is listed as a shooting guard right here, because to be fair, when Trey Young is on the floor, he's more of the off guard than he is on ball. But at the same time, like no matter what team he's on, I don't really consider him a shooting guard. He's pretty good shooter. He's not a great shooter, not even a really good off spot up shooter, right? He needs to be pulling up off the dribble. So, but let's look at Dejounte real quick. I'm always going to go with Dejounte, but we know it's Dejounte. Points real quick against Boston. I mean, there's probably not going to be much that he's good at against Boston. 20th in scoring profile when it comes to points, 27th in his shooting profile when it comes to points. I would say that's even probably a little distorted, because where he is shooting from is much different than when he's shooting with and without Trey. If you look at his scoring overall, where he's actually scoring the ball from, because his shooting profile, even if he's shooting a lot of shots outside right now, we know he's much better going to the rim and in the mid range, which is everything in terms of at the 3-point line and inside the paint is going to be where Boston's defense is strongest. So it's going to be tough for him to get those. As far as the dimes go, they don't really give up assists in general, does Boston, so it's going to be down. It's just about the volume with DJ Murray, right? We're not necessarily worried about how good Boston is or is not against the position. They're just a really good defense no matter what. So for Murray, though, like I said, if you're going to play the points and the points or assists, I would play them together as points and assists so that you can kind of cover it, because you can see sometimes he's diming a bit more and sometimes he is shooting a bit more. If you look at the fluctuation as potential assists, right, like it's usually about 16 is a good number, usually about 15. And honestly, like the only problem with taking his over on just based on the potential assists is how bad this Atlanta team has been on offense. I'm gonna look at their effective field goal percentage real quick, and I'm gonna look over the last 4 games without Jalen Johnson, without Okongwu, the current iteration of this team if he does play. We'll go to the NBA Advanced Stats page and pull up the last 4 games to see how good or not good this Atlanta team is at shooting the basketball right now. Effective field goal percentage. Okay, they are making shots. So the assists might not be a bad idea. They've also played outside of Boston. They played Charlotte, Portland, and they did play Phoenix as well in their last 4 games. So yeah, I mean the potential assists being that high against all those teams is good. I mean Phoenix rather is terrible against point guards. The 15 assists was really impressive. How many potential did he had against Boston? 17. So that's not something that makes you feel good, is that like he had 2 more assists than he did, 2 more potential assists than he did regular assists. That doesn't make you feel great about it. But like I said, it does cover for that. And the fluctuation here that I was looking at is potential assists and how they move up and down compared to the field goal attempts right here, which are like, there is obviously correlation, right, between when he's getting a ton of potential assists and assists versus when he's deciding to put up a few more shots. But either way, this man's volume is so high that like I don't really care which team he's playing against at this point. He's the focal point of the offense. He's the start and end of it. So I would take him. We're going to leave him on the list but I would be taking his PA. I don't know about the PRA, mostly because Boston is just going to keep probably making a lot of shots. It does look like, right, if you leave the rebounds out, there was one more game here in this situation where he's in the last 10 where he's actually gotten over the PA because he left the rebounds out of it. And in that game, he only had 1 board against the Pelicans. So Boston's an awesome rebounding team. I mean, they're good at everything, like I said, but the sheer amount of minutes that he should play if they're trying to win and he's okay is nice, but I don't know for sure that he's okay. And that's the only thing that scares me about taking anything with him tonight. So he's a pass for me for right now, but I'll look at Bogey. And here's what I'm going to do though. Like I want to look at these things through the lens of, do we think Dejounte is or is not playing? And I don't think he's going to play. And if he does play, I'm kind of worried that he's not going to be able to do too much, right? So if he can't do too much, that probably means a little bit more from the scoring than anything else. So who's going to pick up the scoring? Who's going to be ones taking shots because he's not necessarily has the ability, right, because of the pain that he's in or whatever, to take those shots. So and do we think that they want to? I mean, they probably want to make the playoffs. I don't think they're sitting people unless they're really hurt, right? Like, but I don't know with this team. That's the only thing about what you're talking about, free sauce with Atlanta in the 10 seed. They definitely can't afford to lose. But that does it brings to my attention, like, do they want to win? Like, do they care? I am gonna look at Clint Capela too. I saw that one in here from G-Bag a second ago for the PR. I'm back and forth with Capela. That's my thing with him. Let me add him to here for right now. So yeah, the only thing with Murray, I'm gonna put a pass on him for right now, is because of like I said, like, how does he feel? Is he okay? I'm not sure. So I'm gonna pass on him real quick and then move on to Bogey. And then we can look at Capela as well. But I am gonna real quick, like if Murray is out, I'm gonna be honest with you. My favorite bet right now, before I even look at those dudes, might be the aforementioned Vit Krejci. And the reason and it might be V. I should have looked this up beforehand so I didn't butcher it every time. Apologies, V. But for V, first thing I was looking at is 3-pointers. Because like I said, the shots have to go somewhere. And if Murray does play, but he's not up to 100%, that would indicate that he's probably passing a bit more. This was probably about a half a 3 right before Murray was like officially questionable. And so Krejci was at like a half a 3 for like minus 160. And part of the reasoning I think we're even talking about it is because the attempts have gone up. And you look at the last 4, like I said, since we've been without all these dudes, without Jalen Johnson, without Okongwu, not that he took 3s, but we know all these dudes have been out for 4 games, and dude has taken an average in the last 4. In fact, I already have his stuff up. He's taken an average of basically 8 threes a game. So we need him to go 25% in this case, even with Murray in. For that kind of plus money, you bet your ass that Krejci is getting onto this this card right here. So let me add him to the card as well, so that I can just let you know that he's on here, because I don't even need to look at it further. I'll look at a couple more things for you, and I apologize, I'm not going to get the accents correct on his name, but we're going with Krejci, and we're going to spell it right. I'm proud of that. Over 1.5 threes made right now. I'm gonna hit that. We can all blaspheme this man together if he's just doesn't even put one up. But like, with even if it's 4 attempts, I need him to get 2. I mean, it's not great, but if it's 5 or 7, I feel a lot better about his attempts from deep. So let me see what the best number was there. Right now, FanDuel says plus 150 and points bet. I don't really mess with points bet when I don't have to. So plus 150 for Vit on FD. I'm gonna put, man, I might end up putting a full unit on this to win a thing. I'm gonna put 0.7 on it for now, and I'll have this updated in the comments of the video. I'm gonna pin this so that you know what's up. Let me actually make sure I add all these bets so that you're not missing anything. If you come in late, you can see at the bottom what's rolling on the screen right here. But I'm gonna add the other ones I had. I have Giannis leading scorer, and I have that at minus 110 on FD for a unit. And I'll run through those again with the graphic real quick in a sec. But Giannis leading scorer is going to get a full unit. And then Zion under, I took Zion under 40.5 PRA as well for a full unit. And that was minus 125 on MGM. That did get a full uni. And then the other two I had there, I have Jaylen Brown as the leading scorer in that game. So we're going to take JB, and I like his over 22.5 points. Like, that was one of the safest bets, even if Dejounte Murray doesn't play and this thing becomes a blowout. I still think Jaylen Brown's going to do his thing, getting out into transition and getting to the basket. So we're going to take him for that. I believe I got a good number on that, but I'll make sure I get the right one there for him. This doesn't matter because I got to put up the number for him. But for Jaylen, we're going to do that for a full unit, and I'm going to put 0.3 on him to be the leading scorer in that one. I just want to make sure everybody has this leading scorer in the game for Jaylen Brown. That is going to be plus 350 on DK, where I got, or FD is where I got that for 0.3 units. That gives us a full unit back if he hits that. So let's go, JB. I am going to put the Atlanta at Boston, but I would play the over. I would play, or Boston at Atlanta over 225, but I would also play the over on the team total for Boston in case Atlanta doesn't come for the ride, and Atlanta might not come for the ride if Dejounte Murray doesn't play, which is the theme of this show, obviously. Thank you, NBA. Over 225, we got that for minus 105 on FD as well. Put a unit on that. All right, so this is what we have on the early card. Let me actually make sure this is clear for y'all. This is the early card, and the updated card has Vit Krejci on it. You already know. All right, this is scrolling at the bottom. For anybody who comes in late, you can see what we got up already. And yeah, this is another dude to look at. We should also just look at DeAndre Hunter real quick as well without him in there. But like I said, what I like about Vit Krejci is the upward trend in where he's already at. You add the fact that if Dejounte Murray doesn't play, then we have this at a really good number. It probably goes up for everybody. I mean, there's going to be more points to be had all over the place for this Atlanta squad as soon as he's out, right? If he is out, and if he's not out, I think that it just doesn't make sense that the dude would be able to go off, especially from the scoring, if in fact he is that hurt. I wouldn't say no to the assist for him if he's good to go, and that's another great point by Diego right here about Derek White. He's playing this game. Drew Holiday, I think, is also playing in this game. It looks like Drew is playing. So now you're talking about the full strength of this guard defense up top against Dejounte Murray. That doesn't make me feel good, right? So that's why the Murray stuff I passed on. But the other dudes that we're talking about here, I'm on Vit Krejci's 3-pointers right now. That's scrolling on the bottom of the updated card. The first thing we put in, we get plus 150 for him to make 2. I know he's going to shoot 4 of them. Is he going to shoot 5 to 7 of them? That would be wonderful. The 8 attempts as well that he's taken. Did I completely make that up? That doesn't feel right if that's how many he just took recently. Maybe that was just straight field goals. Oh no, it's because it's 4 games, right? So over the last 4 games, he's taken those 8. if you don't add the other stuff. Yeah, because he took, that's total field goals. Apologies. 5 threes. All right. If he gets 5 to 7, like I said, we're good. With the field goals, though, for the points in general, if you want to take that, if that's still 7.5, that would be the other place I look right now. In fact, that would be the other thing I was gonna play, and I am gonna put that on the card as well because I get that minus 104. So I'm gonna add Vic Krejci's points too, just because that does make up for the fact that if he only takes 4 threes, I need him to hit 50% of them. That's a little bit scary, but for him to hit the points here, where he has taken a handful of shots, not from 3, I should say, not all, a majority of them, but a handful of them, then that would be a play too. So I've got the 0.7 units there. I don't want to just finish it. Yeah, the points. I might need to update that to 0.5 then. I need to get that bet in anyway before it moves. I just texted a dude, so I hope we'll get that in. Partner, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if y'all see what's going on with FanDuel cracking down on a lot of stuff. There's people going ham all over social media right now about what to do with being limited and not being able to have as many accounts as you want. But I'm going to add the points for 0.5 as well because I think that's a good bet too. Over 7.5 points. If he is going to be taking like 8 to 9 shots, then if he makes 4 of them, we're good to go. And that's where he's been at with his field goal attempts. So over 7.5 points gives us minus 104 on Caesar. I'm going to go half a unit on that as well. So, all right. So that's the updated card down low. If you want to talk about bogey, the thing about bogey would be, to me, where I would start looking would probably be assists. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any examples of him playing without both Dejounte. It's like we do without Dejounte and without Trey. 0 games for bogey that he's played, right? When you put them both out. If you take just Trey out, a little bit better. But this goes all the way back to like last season, right? This season, he's only played 1 game without Trey, and he got the points there. I'm trying to get to assists. My bad. It's not really impacted because then you just have Dejounte Murray come in and be the 2 guard, even when he plays without Trey, like all the way back to last season in the playoffs. There was a game against Boston. He got over, but I mean, it was against Boston. It's still a little bit scary. He played on the 7th against Boston without Trey. It doesn't matter because Dejounte Murray comes in and gets the potential assists. Like if we look at his potential assists without Trey, it's still going to be not too great of a number. I got to go all the way down because I'm on point. Wait, I should be on assists. So where did I pass it? Right here, 5.5. He had the 6th against Boston last year where he got 5 of them. Like, yeah, in this last one, he did have okay. Either way, against Boston, like the way that they guard shooting guards, I would look at his assists in this one and like ladder it to 5 for some plus money if we see that Dejounte Murray's out. If Dejounte Murray's in, then yeah, I think if he's hurt and he's not himself 100%, right, then that means more assists and less points for DJM, which would mean more points for Bogey as well if he's going to be the dude taking some shots. The thing that scares me is like he's just not shooting that much, right? Like, and I got to take off. My bad. We got to take out without Murray because he's going to be playing. If he is playing, if Murray's playing, like I said, I need it without Trey and without Murray, so I don't really have it. I would lean to the under on everything for Murray. I lean to the over for points for Bogey. But once again, the thing that scares me about this game, just to bring it back up for everybody who might have just come in recently, that is the caution sign here for this game, is the fact that if Murray doesn't play, then this thing has even higher blowout potential, and that's the top line right there. Is like blowout danger high, and that is. Especially if Murray's out. Like if Murray's in, the blowout danger is high. If Murray's out, I have no clue how this team keeps the game close against this Boston Celtics squad, unless like somebody just goes absolutely insane for 3. This game was already over at the half until Boston just stopped playing defense, and then the Atlanta couldn't miss from 3, hit like 57% from deep in the second half. So that I don't want to bank on happening again, right? Like if this is a 20-point game at the half, which it probably is, and maybe we should just be targeting it's like 8.5 points though for the Celtics to be leading at half. That might even be a solid play as well, honestly. Like if you look at the first half stuff for the Celtics, that would be a pretty interesting look. In fact, now I kind of have to look at that, because that all these other things that we're talking about, y'all, where we're talking about like the come back when we're talking about the stuff for overs for Atlanta, like, but even Bogey at 18 points is like, is this going to be a game? Like, how do we know that this is going to be a game? Vic Krejci isn't going anywhere. Like, there's no point not to give him minutes. His minutes have shot up in the last 4 to like 33 minutes, and I only need him to get 8 points and hit 2 threes. I would much rather bank on that happening if a blowout happens than Bogey needing to get 18 points on what could be 12 shots, right? Like, if you look at the field goal attempts for him as of late, he took 15 against Boston. Didn't get there with the points, as we know. He made eight of those shots against Boston. Did he get there against Boston? Oh, I'm tripping. He did get there against Boston. My bad. He did just get there against Boston. And a lot of those points came in the second half as well, by the way, because of the fact that he was kind of cold in the first half. And then he was one of the dudes who just went off from 3 in the second half. The 3-pointers for him, yeah, he took 7 against Boston. Hit 4 of them, very high percentage, obviously, as well. And a bulk of those came in the second half. So the bogey stuff is like, I don't have enough of an edge here. And the blowout stuff just leads me to just move away from it entirely, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of out. I'm out on Bogdanovich stuff. There's nothing, not enough there for me, essentially, with the guard play that we're going to get from the Celtics with everybody healthy. I got to pass on that one. So I'll put that up for bogey real quick. And that's kind of the theme here. Like, the thing for me now, just looking at Capela real quick, is like, I would be going under with Capela before I went over. And some of the reasoning, right? Let's look at Capela on props.cash. First of all, this points prop got stupid. It's up to 12.5 points. You're tripping. Like, you're absolutely tripping if you think that just no. I'm not doing it. I know he just got 14. That was also a part of Boston just shutting it down. Like, that's how I explain that. They just stopped, right? So for the points and rebounds for him, we look at the last 4 once again. Now, Bruno has been coming in, everybody's favorite, Bruno Fernando. Has been coming in and taking a few minutes, right, over the last 3. He's up to about, in these last 3 minutes, up to about 21, 22 minutes per game in this time frame. And that's been, Clint has been at about 27, 29. So they're just off and on, essentially, to get to the 48 minutes. And because he's been taking those minutes from our guy, it scares me a little bit more. The stuff for the rebounds, I mean, this is alarming, right? Like 8.7 average over his last 10 games versus this squad. And obviously we have some playoff games in here, so it's a little bit different. And there's a few less possessions in playoff games, so there's fewer opportunities for rebounds. But all of this, like against this Boston team that just does not give up anything to centers. Let's look at, because they are just packing the paint. Honestly, if you are shooting mid-range, which I believe, actually, now that I think about it, is what DeAndre Hunter, who was also brought up here a minute ago, that is something that he does. If we look at Clint against this team, let's go to points. Where he wants to score from is going to be down low. Boston's nice with it. Where he shoots the ball from is going to be down low. You see Boston's nice with it. As far as the rebounds go, they're a very good rebounding team for a reason, right? I mean, if we just look at Clint is a true center for sure. So I have no problem going over to FanDuel Fantasy Pros and using their team defense versus position stuff here. And if we look at centers, they give up the 3rd fewest rebounds. They are in the bottom-ish, middle of the pack in terms of points. I would imagine that's to actual scoring centers, so I don't really care about that. And the assists, I don't really care about. I really care about the points and the rebounds, and more than anything, the rebounds, because especially if Dejounte Murray is not himself, that means that pick and roll with he and Clint Capela is just not nearly as scary. They are going to be a team that is in the top 10, Atlanta, in terms of their roll man stuff, but Boston's also top 10 in terms of limiting the roll man. So if you look at, we go to NBA stats again, and we go to play type, and we look at the pick and roll man, who is obviously consistently going to be our boy Capela. If you look at Boston on defense, the amount of possessions where they're even allowing a roll man to roll, about middle of the pack. Yes, so they're a little bit outside the top 10 in terms of possessions. Frequency with which it happens, pretty frequently. Points per possession, they're second best at limiting the roll man. That's what I should just let you know about, right? So that leads to 7.2 points. They're still going to be like around 15th in terms of the amount of points that they give up to that position and to that player. But the field goal attempt here, the field goals made, is really good for them because they limit what he does so well, right? Because of the versatility of Kristaps, because Al Horford's an incredibly savvy defender as well. So there's not much to like for the roll man for his points. That kind of like leads me away from it, right? The rebounds that he would need, I think he's at about like 15, 16 rebound chances. For him to get 11 rebound chances against this squad, I'm going to go back over to players here. I'm going to go to advanced stats and change teams to players. I'm going to pull up tracking data. Everybody, always use it as much as you can. It is really, really accurate on offense. We don't have quite as much of it or any of it on defense yet. But if we look at the rebounds, this shows us not just everything around his activity around rebounding. And the rebound chances over the last, I'm going the last 4 once again, because that is when we have this current iteration of the Hawks team with everybody out, Jalen Johnson, et cetera, et cetera. And Jalen Johnson's the dude I keep talking about. He's been out for 4 games. Rebound chances, 16, right, for Clint. Like, that is a good amount. It's going to be probably in the top 80, 85th percentile, but 10.5 boards off of that, which makes sense. That's still a really good rebound chance percentage. For him to get more than that is terrifying. You don't want it to be around 70-75%. If you're at 60 to 65%, you're a good rebounding center in terms of pulling down the actual rebound chances you get, as opposed to Kelly Olynyk, who does not pull those down, except for last night, apparently. Kelly Olynyk. It took me 34 and a half minutes before I actually complained about Kelly Olynyk. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty good. Yeah, let's move past Clint, because I can tell you right now I'm off of him. If anything, like I said, I would be leaning towards an under. I don't know how many of rebounds are going to be available for Clint Capela, based on the fact that this Boston team is probably just going to be reining it in on them, getting to the free throw line, getting some threes up. So yeah, I might be on the under for Clint, but I'm gonna go over right now in that one. What's good, Joe? Good to see you, bro. Got some new people in here too. I appreciate that. See y'all as well. Let's see. What are y'all talking about with the? Yeah, we want to get to Pelicans, right? The only other thing I talk about, PR. I'm all over this Prime VA for sure. Just one more look at it for some of y'all who came in a little bit late. One of my favorite bets here too is going to be JB Jaylen Brown to get his points and to be the top scorer in this game at plus 350. Shout out my co-host Nate on one of the shows I'm on as well. Homie had a couple of these looks, and I was gonna go for Jaylen Brown's points, I swear, until he took him and brought him up on the show. But this is a great bet. I like him because of the transition defense for Atlanta, which you see is always going to be really, really terrible. If you go to play type and you look at transition stuff for them on defense, changing offensive to defensive for Atlanta, and looking at the points per possession they give up, that's the worst. They give up the third most points in possession. The only dude who was getting back and playing good D for them was Jalen Johnson, and with him out, everything just turns to crap for that team. So I like JB to go to the bucket and get his, and I like him out in transition as well. So we're going over for Jaylen Brown on that one. Good look on the 21.5 points. If you got it there, I'm still good with. I always will take that extra point if you give it to me. If you're going to take it over and you get a lower point for a worse return, some money is better than no money. That's kind of how I look at it. So let's see. The Kelly O Linsanity run ended last night for the fade. It's true. We're still gonna look at it, but our dude's been getting usage. That's the thing. He is like the point guard at this point for this squad. So the Kelly O fade is on hold until further notice, probably until next game. G-Bag is also talking about Herb Jones. So let me just look at one thing real quick. I'm gonna put up that I'm passing on Clint real quick, because there's nothing there for me except for potentially an under on the points and rebounds. If you wanted it, that would be where I would go with Clint Capela before anything, but he's going to be a pass for me. And we're going to move on to one more dude in here, which was DeAndre Hunter, because I could also see him going off. The thing is, he is like Bogey in the sense that his stuff is high. If Dejounte Murray doesn't play, it's still kind of high. If Dejounte Murray does play, it's still kind of high. So I'm just off of the DeAndre Hunter stuff because of the fact that this is like, it fluctuates so highly for him, right? Like for his stuff, you can see 24, 13, 11, 22, 8, 20, 27. Like I don't know when it's going to be his turn more than anything. And over the last like 4 games, Vic Krejci's come in and taken a lot of the spots on the floor that DeAndre Hunter wants to play and get his buckets from. So like these are the same amount of minutes that Krejci's been playing. And one of those was that blowout with Charlotte where they smacked him by like 30. And Krejci was the dude who was still playing later in the game. So that's why I come back to that with Vic Krejci more than anybody else, why he's added to the card that's scrolling along the bottom there. So let me go back to I'm a pass on DeAndre Hunter as well, just in case that wasn't clear. And now I will look at this other game. If you all do have bets for this Boston-Atlanta game, definitely keep jumping in the comments. Let me know what you think. And we can still look at a few more things. But the first bet I had for this game that I already made that I told you guys about was the Giannis to be the leading scorer for minus 110. Got that on the FanDuels. And his points prop is at 29.5 right now. So it did not reach 30.5 like I thought it might. And then for Zion, his points prop actually rose to 26.5. Golly. So I might have been able to get better. He's still at the 39.5 PRA. So was right to take the 40 because I took under 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Zion as well. That's scrolling on the bottom. So you know that's where I'm at with him. It's the way that this team has been playing defense. I'll just show you real quick team opponent shooting, because if we take the last 10 games for the Bucks, we look at for the whole squad, everybody, we look at it. But if we look at less than 5 feet, well, let me actually just put it to by zone. My fault. This is also on NBA Advanced Stats. If you go to by zone, And now you can see different parts of the floor where people are getting scored upon, right? If you look at the field goal attempts down low, they're not even giving up field goal attempts, much less makes, which are also the second fewest in the league. And the field goal percentage is a little bit high, but they're not getting down there, right? Like, so the fact that they're just limiting everybody from even getting the shots off is like pretty helpful. But there is a reason for that. It's because the above the break stuff is so easy for other teams to come by as well, that like they're giving up the second most makes, the most attempts are coming against them, like the third highest percentage in terms of above the break stuff. If you look at mid-range stuff as well, that's going to be bad because they sag off, right? They play that drop defense. So everything, like you can see the field goal attempts that are inside the paint but not in the restricted area, those look at, it's just such a stark difference. It makes so much sense, right? Like the stats are telling a clear story, which is field goal attempts in the paint before you get to the rim, high, right? For against the Milwaukee Bucks, and a bunch of makes as well against the Milwaukee Bucks with a good percentage against them. So bottom four in that. Yes, the field goal percentage is high for them down low when teams get to the rim, but that's because if they get to the rim, that's because somebody fell over, they got a screen, there was a mismatch or a miscommunication, and they're just walking to the rim and making 13 of 18 field goals at the rim. But when you got Giannis and Brolo out there, you're not even getting shots off at the rim. You got to take them from the mid-range and in the non-RA area. That ain't where Zion's shooting from, right? And so that's why, like, I don't like his points. If I look stupid with this one because Zion takes like 25 shots, fine, but he doesn't usually. I mean, I guess he has taken 20 recently. Let's look at that real quick. I don't want to speak out of my ass too much. Field goal attempts. Yeah, I mean, no, I am right. Thank you. Trust yourself. He's still at like in the last basically 5. So we got 4 games without BI, right? And in those 4 games, he's still only averaging about 14, 15 shots in those 4 games. Probably a little bit less because he didn't even take that many against Miami. Did he have free throw attempts against Miami? Why didn't he get anything off? Yeah, he just didn't do anything against Miami. That was a terrible game for them. Either way, for Zion, the field goal attempts at 14 or 15. I mean, yeah, he's making a good percentage of them. If we look at his field goal percentage real quick, 62% for sure. Like he shot 93% against Detroit. Congrats, right? 29% though against Miami, and we just saw Miami is the only other team that is giving up less field goals made at the rim than the Bucks. So I love when the correlation comes like to get together like that, right? Because just to look at Zion shooting real quick, we'll go by zone player shooting, and we'll do this with the New Orleans Pelicans, right? And if we look at the Pellies by zone, their players, obviously Zion's taking the most shots from down here. He's taking some of the most shots in the league from down there. But if you look at non-restricted, yeah, he's not putting up floaters. And if you look at mid-range, he's not shooting mid-range. He's not a shooter. In fact, I can't even get him on the list. He's taking 0 mid-range shots per game. This is the last 4, which is fine because that's still, like I said, when he's been playing without Brandon Ingram. Ingram was in for that one game where he left, and that was against the Orlando Magic, right? That's where he got hurt. So even in these 4 with him, mostly 4 without him, like he's still not taking any mid-range. He hasn't taken a single mid-range shot over the last 4 games, and I'm sure that's at like 1 or 2 on the season per game at the most. He's not taking threes, so there's only one other place he's shooting from. It's just the restricted area and a couple of shots from in the paint non-RAs. But if he wants to put up that floater, great. I don't think Zion's good for the points there. The mid-range is the other spot that this team is giving up points, right? We talk about that with the Bucks. They're giving up the 4th most attempts in their last 10. They're giving up the 5th or 6th most makes with a decent field goal. They're decent, yeah, middle of the pack field goal percentage, but still not great for them in terms of their opponent. It's the amount of shots that they're giving up. And so the people scoring from there for this squad, as we know, BI. But let me just do the last 3 with BI completely out. And you can see with CJ, he's obviously the dude shooting those the most, and they're really not shooting that many mid-range in general. It's all above the break stuff, and it's Trey Murphy as well. So that's definitely where we're looking, is for taking overs in this game. We're taking an under with Zion, at least I am, taking an under with Zion with the points, rebounds, and assists. I think the points are really high at 26.5 now, but juiced really to the over, so you can't get as much profit there. But if we do want to talk about some dudes that we could hit some overs on in this game, and I'm a pass on the total in this game. If we pull up the most updated spreads and totals on the live stuff here, we're still at 16.5 in that game, 226 in that one. I still do like the over. I got 225.5 for the Celtics and Hawks, but for this one, we're still at 224.5. It dropped and then it just kind of held right here. My bad, I clicked on the Pellies. It held right here at 226.5. 224.5. I'm a push on that. Like I don't feel it, honestly. if you're giving me points for the home team in this matchup, I'm taking the Pellies to win, honestly. And I think a big part of that is going to be the scoring that comes from up top, like we keep talking about. So for the Bucks defense, just to finish the point, like, yeah, everything over here, everything for them has been above the break, and 3-pointers. If we want to look at 3-pointers from everywhere against this squad, they've just been giving it up, especially in the last 10. Let me look opponent stuff for the Bucks right now on advanced stats and go just even for the season. How many threes are they giving up? They were a bit better from 3. Middle of the pack. Yeah, so they've been in the top 12 for the season in terms of opponent 3-pointers made, stuff like that. Let me change this music right quick too. But if you look at the last 10 games for them, not really good here. Opponent 3-pointers made, second most, right? With the second, third, whatever most attempts coming against them, and a really high percentage as well, bottom 5, in terms of the percentage that they're giving up to their opponents from deep. So where are they getting scored from? A ton, by the way, from the corner. If you look at the field goal attempts from the corner 3, they've been giving up field goals made from there. I thought it was more than that. Oh, that's because of the right corner 3. If we just look at corner 3 in general, I guess not as bad over the last 10. On the season, they've been giving up a lot of those, but they've been a little bit better, but it's a corner 3. So I do think Herb Jones was a good look. I know I think you brought that up, G-Bag, about Herb Jones was sneaky, and that would be something. Great question. I got to interrupt myself. I don't know, Joe. Like our boy Kelly was not on track, and he kept going. Stupid. But yeah, to finish the point about the scoring here, we got Trey Murphy, we got Herb Jones, we got CJ McCollum. What do we think is going to happen? CJ is juiced up. Like, this is an example of the books being intelligent, in my opinion, because I was ready to go over on CJ, and I got here and I was like, bro, this is not where his prop is at. Now, it's gone up because Brandon Ingram is out. And if we do look at him this season without Brandon Ingram, if we go CJ McCollum with and without Brandon Ingram, I got to do this season. And I do have to get these bets up in 20 minutes. Yeah, look, I mean, a couple more minutes, about 6 more points, 5.5 more points, 1 more board, 0.8 more assists, but he's taking 5 more shots, right? That's huge. And 1 more 3 per game. And that 3-point percentage for our guy is nice this season. We tried to fade him one time recently, and he hit the last 3 to get over. But yeah, like that's a good look. Like, it's CJ to get his. It's just now we're at the 3 points. The 3-pointer is high. The Bucks are bad against that 3, though. It's just I don't get any juice for over 3. For him to get 4, is just like regular money, because of the fact that I think people have probably been on that. The books at least have to be aware of that. I'm going to look at point guards 3-pointers made against this squad and against Milwaukee. Not seeing them too much, to be honest. It's like 2.9 that they're giving up, so still like middle of the pack, but closer to better. But like I said, over those last 10 games, I think we got to buy into that just as much because of that drop defense. So if he's going to run the pick and roll with Zion, he's going to be the dude running the pick and roll. It's just there's just not enough juice for the 3s anymore, y'all. Like, I don't know if anybody's going to be hitting points for CJ, but even that 22.5, you can get -104 on FanDuel, which is way better. Because the other books still have him at 21.5 points, unless they did officially move that up. I want to take CJ. I really do. I really want to take the points more than anything. The assists have not been there for him as much. If we look at his scoring against this team, I mean, maybe I just got to get over the fact that it's high and these numbers are high, and I just got to go with it, because CJ's shooting, where he's shooting from, is going to be the spot that you can score against this team, and the mid-range as well against Milwaukee. I mean, in terms of scoring, 18th or 17th best, basically like, top half of the league for Milwaukee, but still middle of the pack. In terms of limiting his scoring, and where he's shooting from is just, if he's gonna make those shots, then it's gonna be a day for our guy. It's just they juiced up the points, they juiced everything up. I guess we could take over 22.5 points and not feel too bad about it, to be honest. That would be where I would lean. So let's throw just CJ points in there, honestly. And no, you cannot trust the Bucks at all. Like, if you're gonna give up what happened to them in that last game, then yeah, I'm gonna add CJ. I'm gonna take CJ, not for the 3s, because I don't want to have to take him to hit 5. Like, that's insane. He's not Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, but he is good for the 22.5 points at even money is good for me. So I'm gonna take that and add it to the card real quick. And that was a green check for us for CJ Murray to get his, right? All right. Adding CJ to the card. That's going to be scrolling on the bottom so you can see the updated bets real quick. I'll put that in here. I put a half a unit on it because I get that full unit back, or a half a unit back too, because it's basically even money. So I'm good with that. Put that in there. I got CJ. The other dude that I would look at for threes, I'm sure Trey Murphy's also at what? 3.5? Yeah, 3.5. But you get, there's no way that's right. Is it? Okay, because it did go up to 3.5 from 2.5. He was at 2.5. And you can still get 2.5 for bad juice. And this is one of those plays that I talk about with Prize Picks or Underdog, where it's like we're right on the cusp, right? And we were talking about we're talking about the threes here. My bad. Just to finish the point about CJ, you're not wrong. You're not wrong that you can't trust CJ. But last time we took an under against him and he hit the over, it was only 16 points. But if he's going to be taking that many shots, that's my main thing is the shots and the matchup for him against this squad. Now Pat Bev is back. That's true too. I didn't even think of that. The fact that how many minutes has Pat Bev been playing? Because he is ruled in. Played 15 in that game. He got hurt. I don't know how much he's going to be available, but it's also up in the air how much Pat Bev is going to play. I see taking a CJ over always scares me. That's why I've been waffling on it so much. But I'm gonna leave it up for the half unit. I'm gonna take that here in a bit and get that. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, Joe. Yeah, if you're looking for the top scorer prop, you want to go to Popular on FanDuel as well, and you can also just put it in the search bar if you're looking for it as well. Yeah, and his PRA did get bumped. It's a good look that CJ's PRA got bumped from 30.5 to 32, and the points have gone up. But now that it's at 22.5 for good juice for him, I am going to take that even with Pat Bev in there for part of the game, hounding him just based on volume. Like in these last 3 games for CJ, he's up to the 20 field goal attempts, right? 20 field goal attempts to get 22.5 points. If he's got to make 11 shots, right, and like he can make 10 shots and a couple of them are threes. Like it's still shooting 45% from the field, making 2 threes. That gets us there. So if he's going to be taking those many shots in a position where the Bucks are weakest, I got to go for it. At least half a unit for that even money. So that's what I put on that. Looking at the Trey Murphy 3 stuff, and we'll get out of here in a sec on that because we only have 2 freaking games. And I'm going to be doing deep dives into the games for tomorrow. We have a big slate. I'm going to get off of here and just get right into that. I'll be doing some player props for baseball. Most likely starting next week. I'll be getting a couple people on. I'll probably throw them in the same live stream, to be honest with you, if I do start doing baseball. But I also want to get a baseball video out as well. So I'm not going to sacrifice the night before NBA stuff other than last night because of this 2-game slate. I'm going to be digging deeper dives into most of those games. 12 games on the slate tomorrow, so I want to get right into that stuff. But let's close it out here real quick. And a reminder to subscribe to the page. I appreciate you guys jumping in. And if you do like what you're getting, then keep coming back because we have a good time talking hoop in here. But finishing it up with the threes for our boy Trey, who we know is named such because he hits treys. To get 4 is kind of crazy, dog. The threes, there's not many people in the history of the league that you're like 4. Yeah, I'll take it over, right? Because it's like Steph Curry kind of broke the mold with that. And then when Harden was doing his baloney, the 3-point attempts for our guy real quick up here. Where did we go? Yeah, they've been down a bit, right? We need him to get 4 on 9 attempts. Still a really high percentage from 3. That's what's frustrating. The threes are going to come against this Milwaukee team. You saw where they're giving it up from. He's the only dude taking fewer threes from above the break than CJ right now. If you look at the player shooting for this squad over the last 3 games, and that's been without Brandon Ingram, which I think is at least a quality, way to do this because BI being in just changes everything. So the 6.5 attempts, 2 makes from above the break. He does have 1 from the corner in that right corner as well. So that does get you to 3, but the 4 is going to be a bit high for our guy. It's a bit more than he normally makes on average. When he does get there, he gets there. And if we look at the 3-point attempts by game real quick, when he takes the shots, the bulk of the ones that were over, he's got to get to the 8 or 9 attempts. The thing that scares you is he's going to take that. Now, these are better defenses against the worst defenses down low, right? Like Detroit's been awful down low. Oklahoma has. Miami's bad against spot-up shooters. As we know, they do give that up. So that's at least a look. I would like it. The plus money is very tempting. This is almost just like a ladder play. So the plus 168, if you can really for real still get that, and let me just make sure it's actually pulling through correctly for Trey, and then we'll be out. but if we do want to put this on the card, because this isn't a bad sprinkle. This is a nice ladder, right? Basically, if it's not available for 2.5, but it's available for the 3.5 for really good money, we're not in a bad spot then. Where's Trey at? Right here, plus 148, so down a little bit from that. Still plus 150. If that's the best juice you can get, I'm kind of with it, to be honest with you, just based on the attempts and like I said, where the shots are gonna be coming from. So yeah, I'm gonna add Trey to the card and go from there. And then I think we're gonna call it for today, y'all. But appreciate everybody who's been tuning in here. All right, I got the final card real quick for y'all so that we are not lost. Over 3.5 3 p.m. Make sure that you get the plus, at least plus 150 on that. I mean, plus 148 is okay as well. But over 3-pointers made, over 3.5 threes made, just because that's where the points are going to come from. That's it. That's what I got, you know. So add in Trey to the bottom line real quick, and then just take one more quick look at it with y'all. But Trey Murphy. And that gets us plus 148 on FanDuel as of right now. Got to look at that. We'll go with a half a unit on Trey. We don't have that many bets out, so I'm not too worried about putting out these units. But for the early card, do have Giannis, not Yana. Come on, man. Just give the man his due. Giannis, save that. Giannis to be the leading scorer in this game. Their game against the Pelicans. Zion to go under 40.5 PRA, minus 125 on MGM for a full unit. Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points for a full unit, and to be the leading scorer at plus 350 for 0.3 units. Boston, Atlanta, I got the over. I think the better play there at this point is the over 121.5 for the C's. If you want to grab that, that's where I would take it. And the total scares me with Dejounte being questionable the way he is. Vit Krejci, though, over 1.5 threes for plus 150, another half unit play, and over 7.5 points for minus 104, another half unit play. We got CJ over 22.5 points and Trey Murphy over 3.5 threes. So best of luck to y'all tonight, man. Great call. When the Discord coming, bro, with baseball added to the card, I had to get it going, but I should just get it going and make it happen. Got the website in tandem with the Discord as well. So we're gonna be coming through with a website that comes with it, and then easy plays that I'll just be handing out. But plus, I appreciate y'all, man. Like, everybody in here is good people for real, and I can tell that y'all mess with each other as well, which is cool, because that's what I want to be a part of too, is like a legit community of people that talk hoop and just appreciate hoop. I do want to get into W action too this year, and I'm going to be pulling y'all to see what you guys think about some W stuff, because I have a model at this point for the WNBA that I'm really kind of proud of, to be honest with you. I feel really good about it, so I want to get that in as well and see if y'all mess with some WNBA stuff. It might be a second before we can get into it together, like you guys get it, you know, and like people want to follow it or not. Maybe we can get some WNBA subscriptions. They're like $25 or whatever for the season. It might be a little bit more, but either way, we'll be coming back. I'll be doing a really thorough video tonight with all these picks. Coming back with the live stream tomorrow to get into it before this 12-game slate on Friday. So definitely subscribe. The final bets are also going to be pinned to the comments of this video on YouTube. If you're not subscribed there, definitely do so. And jump in the comments of that. Let me know what y'all are betting and playing and see what's going on for tonight. All right. Appreciate y'all. Happy betting, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.